are in many ways on another level than men. They say they mature earlier, and I think they keep that. I mean, they've got when it comes to the sexual thing, they've got a way bigger responsibility. I mean, bearing children, guys. I mean, just imagine what women go through. Childbearing. My dad's mother died in childbearing when he was 8 years old. So I mean, it used to be very dangerous for women. And these C-section. I mean, guys, most guys, the species would go extinct if guys had to have babies. So ladies, I totally get it. If you don't want to have kids, you don't have to have kids. Okay? I mean, hey, I don't think God's going to tell you that you did anything wrong. In fact, there's a passage in Scripture that talks about the breasts that never nursed and the womb that never bore. That these women are going to be happier at the time toward the end of the age. There's less burden on some of these women apparently. I don't know. I mean, it's just that God has a way of making everything work. So women that have never had children, should feel they can feel complete. Okay. And men and women are different. The woman is at least, you can say she's made from a rib, so she's just this small portion. She's not as much as a man. Well, it doesn't, what the size in this case, it certainly doesn't matter. And to me, size doesn't matter. I mean, no matter how you like. I mean, I know we all know what this alludes to, but that's stupid too. So yeah, I don't buy the size matters at all. But the woman, at least, she's whole. She's at least a whole rib. So you see this reflected. I mean, women take care of themselves better. Men, only 25% over 50 are single. And there's a good reason for that. We're big, fat babies. We're very needy creatures. But women should not take advantage of that fact and have that prostitute, conceited mentality, that self-exaltation, let it go to their head and all that. But they need to embrace that contrite, demure spirit, the feminine spirit, the godly spirit. And that is what's most attractive with women. To me, in my mind, that's just irresistible. It turns me on, quite frankly. But when I see the conceit and all that, it's a turnoff. But we both have our idiosyncrasies, the male and female. We do. The difference is, of course, that men really are more driven. That they know they're not ever going to feel right unless they complete themselves, unless they're whole. And then the whole thing about settling. A guy can't just settle. You're not supposed to go out there and make a lot of money and be attractive and, bring the woman in. Because we all know that's a big problem with a lot of relationships. I watch a lot of these crime shows and you see all these people being killed, women killing their beloveds for the insurance money and vice versa. I mean, it's sick. If you settle, I mean, that's the kind of thing you can think of, you can expect maybe. It happens more times than you'd think. I mean, and just the divorces are through the roof. I mean, to me, a prenup, for example, ought to be the norm, and that would save a lot of stress, I think, in the relationship. Because, hey, there's one reason you're with me. It's because you want me, okay? You don't want my money. You don't want my possessions, my wealth, my prosperity. Okay, this whole thing with life insurance, that's a big problem. I mean, just because of the problems it potentially can cause us, they don't get it. Why? Who cares? I mean, it should be against the law for somebody else to take out life insurance policy on you and then possibly have you killed. I mean, this goes on apparently a lot. I mean, they don't even know all. I mean, every single crime show out there, I mean, that's only a small percentage of what's going on that people get away with maybe sometimes. I mean, some people are pretty diabolical and crafty, and they could possibly fool the best detective. So it's just what I'm saying is you see the complications money can bring into a relationship. So to have something going should be, that thing you've got going should be something you've checked in with God. That's character. And that's what I've got, is that, I think I'm of this noble character, but yet you see my weaknesses come through all the time in my misspeaking and ineffectual speech that is not really affecting the right changes. You know, it's very important when we're trying to reach people with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If we think we're enlightened and we have something to offer people, remember, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And that's the best that any of us can do, is to lead horses to water, but you can't make them drink. But how do we do this? We try to entice them and try to vindicate the name of God in a roundabout way, and talking about values, and you talking about eternity and their views on life and death, and these very important matters to all of us. Is that because we all know, scientifically speaking, we could be dead today, and where do we go from here? I mean, it's a big deal to think of losing everything we're familiar with in our lives, including our very body, our whole five senses, everything gone just like that. Just, you know, here today, gone tomorrow. And that's what we all have to face day in and day out. We're contending with a lot. We're all coping with a lot. And we need God's help to guide and direct us. So even though I'm a single man, I can pour my heart out to God, and God understands. And He can lead and direct my paths as best as as much as I can relinquish to Him and let go and surrender to Him, because I'm constantly fighting my own happiness. I feel like I'm sabotaged. I feel like a demon sometimes, and I don't feel worthy of His amazing grace that keeps popping its head up. And every time I feel like I'm just a lost cause, He says, no, you know what? Maybe the best days are yet to come. And I'm going to take Him up on it. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to try. I might fail again, but you know what? I'm going to keep trying. I've got eternity to work on this thing. But I know my values. I know what I really want. Above all, I want to please Him. I want to vindicate His name. And when we're reaching other people, we talk about values and stuff like that, and being accountable, and relationship with God, and prayer, and all this sort of stuff is very important when we're trying to reach people. And vindicating the holy name of God, that make sure that people understand that God's not to blame for anything bad that's ever happened, ever, not in from all through history, not in our lives personally as individuals. Nothing that's bad that's ever happened. He didn't want it to happen. Anything bad that could potentially happen to us today or in the future, it's not His fault. It's not His desire. Okay? It's what makes sense and what's logical. That's His desire. He wants the best for us. He wants us to be happy. That will make Him happy, just like any parent. They're happy if their kids are happy. That's what they want. So God wants us to be happy. So thank God for everything good that's ever happened throughout history, for everything good that's ever happened to you in your personal life, your individual life, in your whole life, every good thing that you've enjoyed your five senses all your life, and all the experiences and all those things that you were created to appreciate, the beauty of a rose, just all the phenomenal beauty on the face of the earth that you were created to enjoy and appreciate. He gave you that ability. You're made like God. You're a God-like creature with virtually unlimited potential. Let people know. I mean, hey, I've often said that if I spent my whole life just walking this earth and letting people know that they're God's precious treasure, don't believe the lie that you're just another warm body and, do the earth a favor. I mean, that spirit permeates our culture now. Just go do the earth a favor and go out and die under a bridge somewhere, and that way your carbon footprint won't be wrecking the planet, right? So if I spent my whole life just telling people that they're God's precious treasure, don't believe the lie, it'd be a life well spent. So would your life be well spent. But we've got to be His friends. That's what He says. I no longer call you servants, but friends. So we give ourselves as servants of God of our own free will and accord. We give ourselves servants of men of our own free will and accord. But it's of the highest value, the highest purposes that we have in mind here. It's a lot more than just going off and doing our jobs and serving humanity, and that plays very little part in the scheme of eternity. So we've got to let people know what's most important, and that is what God has told us what's most important, and to check in and to let them know that this is something that they will value from greatly if they themselves can do it, and be rewarded for. Know that, hey, whoever gives one of these little ones that loves me even a drink of cold water will certainly not lose a reward. So let people know that they're of utmost value, and that they need to take that understand it, believe it, and take it forth and say, wow, this is something, this makes sense. This is logical. This is intellectual to believe that God loves me. And that a lot of people don't realize that, the importance of that, and going out and letting people know that. God is the one that can straighten out our hearts and minds and spirits and souls. He's the one that can pull us out of the garbage can. He's the one that can cast out the demons that we feel are plaguing us. I mean, I know just being cognizant of the fact that I'm hated is a big deal. And I know I am. I mean, think of what do the Federal Reservists think about me? I mean, they know I'm always talking about getting rid of them. I mean, we've got to understand what's going on here and what's affecting our freedom, what's causing us to want to escape and turn to so many vices that we turn to in life. Okay? And there's just a lot. We want to run. We want to not walk. We want to run away from things.